Welcome to Wild and Kingdom, everybody. We're here with the famous Jasper Charles, the producer who's also the songwriter, artist extraordinaire. Come on.
I don't know about famous, but I'll take it.
Infamous?
Yeah, infamous. Yeah.
Infamous works. And you're joined by Greg Driver, the bald-headed wonder, the only man ever who's been known to bounce a tithe check. And so that's all washed in the blood.
That's called what real faith looks like.
That's right. Hey, honey, we're 22 years old.
Yeah.
I don't have the money, but I'm tithing. All right, we got to add this to that playlist of have I told you about.
Yeah, for sure.
What happened on that? How old were you when that happened? I forget.
Probably 20, 21, somewhere in there. And whoever the church.
It's one of the best stories I've ever heard.
Tell me that's not a display of faith.
Yeah, sure.
Huh?
Sure.
It's like when Foxworthy said, the guy called him, your truck payment's past due. You can write a check.
Yeah, I'll just pay it off.
Oh, well, I'll just pay it off then.
Yeah, the church secretary. I don't remember who it was.
Probably Brenda Benner.
I believe it might have been. And she was a little embarrassed to have to call me,
Greg, honey,
And-
I can hear her.
Yeah.
Greg, honey, how are you, baby? You doing good?
We got a little problem. I'm sure it was a big check. It's probably
$12.
$20 or
You're probably
something.
working at, honestly, it was probably when you were working at Sherwin Williams,
It probably was. to
working
be
for
honest
old
with
Coy.
you.
That's funny.
Yeah, making $3 an hour.
Yeah. Preacher said tithe.
So I did that.
So I
So you
tithe.
did? Yeah.
You're supposed to let
He said they
that
took checks, so I just
It's one of my all-time favorite giving stories ever.
That's pretty good.
So today, hey, that's a long way from there to Apex
sure.
Restoration.
yeah.
So
The NSF charge was probably more than the tithe check.
no doubt.
Probably.
$22 at the
Yeah.
time. I remember that. It was, the check was worth $7. I'll send you $29. Can I bring it in cash and nickels?
Yeah.
And roll of quarters. That's so funny, dude.
This younger generation, they don't write checks, do they?
I don't even own
I have a
checks.
friend, Zach
Never
Ray.
have.
You know Zach Ray.
Yeah.
I found out about a year or two ago. Zach has never written a check in his life. I'm like, but I got thinking, why would he?
Yeah, there's no reason to.
Have you ever written a check?
I don't own checks. I've never even been given a check other than anytime I've needed one, I go to the bank and get a cashier's check.
Yeah.
They do it for me. Like they just print it out because like even when I opened my account when I was
You ever
15.
mailed a letter?
Yeah, I've mailed letters.
Yeah.
Probably flat Stanley in second grade.
On the flip side, I don't own Venmo.
Oh, I got paid in Venmo yesterday
That's what I'm saying. I don't have Venmo. Why would I need Venmo?
Yeah.
because you can't write checks.
Because I can't write checks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's fascinating. Well, I want to say thanks to Apex Restoration DKI. They are the wonder power behind all this, and Mossberg and Vortex. Thank you for all those communities that help us do what we do at Wild and Kingdom. Today we are talking about Jasper, and it was time for him to tell his story. And so let's start out with this. If you haven't watched the actual episode, it's called Unexpected. And I'll put the link in the show notes. I've noticed a lot of people, we're on Apple, we're on Spotify, we're on YouTube, but a lot of people don't realize we're not, I have friends all the time, how's podcast going? I'm like, oh, podcast is great. That's part 2, though. You know that, right? Oh, really? Yeah, there's a whole YouTube show. Back in the day, we would have called it a television show.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I didn't know that. It's funny how people hone in on certain things they like. But every one of Wild and Kingdom shows we do, we go somewhere. We take somebody. In this case, somebody's you, but we take somebody on a hunt, or we take somebody into an outdoor-ish expedition, and we tell their story. It's kind of like, what's your favorite thing to do? Hunt, fish, go to the gun range. What do you like to do? And we'll put them in their environment. They'll tell their story. Well, Jasper's always wanted to go fly fishing in Montana, so we did, and yet. The story's not about fly fishing. That's just where we set the story up.
Yep.
So if you haven't seen that, I'll put the link in the show notes, but also it's on our YouTube channel. People ask us all the time, how can we help you? Ask me all the time, how can we help your ministry? I'm like, well, tell people about it, because that's what we're doing. We're trying to share the gospel and the truth to men so that they're not captivated by the woke culture. In this particular case, we went to that whole place of your story, let's start there.
Yep.
Let's start with you moved to Nashville.
Yep.
You were how old?
19.
So you were 19 years old.
Yep. January 5th, I think, will be 10 years.
And we'll put Jasper's Spotify, profile in the notes as well, so you can listen to some of his music. But when you got to Nashville, you came here to be a songwriter. You said in the episode, I thought it was kind of interesting. You said, I have been writing songs longer than
I have been alive.
Than I've been alive. As far as I've been writing,
the majority of my life, I've written songs for more of my life than I've been alive than not.
Yeah, more than half of your lifespan, because you started writing songs when you were 13.
12, 13, yeah.
Yeah, and that was your aspiration. It wasn't sports. It was I want to be a songwriter and artist.
Yeah, fortunately, I wasn't good at sports, so it was an easy default to go to.
Yeah, well, at about, what are you at? About $150?
Yeah.
So that'd be maybe a welterweight boxing guy or something.
Tennis player.
I think my left leg.
I wasn't going to play tennis.
Golfer.
Yeah, see, we were talking about that earlier. If I would have known more about golf when I was younger, probably would have gotten into that, but it just wasn't a thing.
Yeah. So you moved to Nashville, and let's pick up the story there.
Okay. Well, I moved really to Murfreesboro, to be completely exact. I went to school at MTSU for music business. That was kind of the deal. My parents were like, if you're going to go up there and do that, you're going to get a degree. You're not just going to go up there and play songs on the street and figure it out, which was...
No busking.
Yeah, no, none of that. So I was doing that. I was writing songs with people at MTSU. I was going to Nashville every day to go to all the writers' rounds. I got an internship at a publishing company to learn all about how songs make money, and I was playing shows at the same time. But early on into that, when I was playing shows, I quickly found out I've got something internally going on with my voice. I was playing a show in Birmingham, and I was just on stage like, dude, I feel like I'm swallowing razor blades every time I'm up here singing. I got off the stage, got in the car with my parents, and I was like, I don't know what's going on, but I have got to go to the doctor. I cannot sing like this. And so go to Vanderbilt. They put the camera down my throat. I have a big cyst on my right vocal cord. So that was phase one of all of this. And then they put me through some vocal therapy. And this is just me being completely honest. At this point, I was a junior in college. I was making terrible decisions in my life with the things that I was doing. And the vocal therapy that they had me doing was like blowing bubbles in a cup through a straw. Like that's what I was supposed to be doing by myself in my apartment. That is not what I was doing, right? It was like that, plus they gave me this crazy diet that was no chocolate, no caffeine, no dairy, no spicy foods, no alcohol, no smoking. And I was like, well, that's my whole diet.
Yeah.
Like literally, So that was I was not clicking with the doctors there. And so it took me a little while to get, in the groove of actually taking it serious. But even when I started taking serious, nothing got better. So I was doing all my therapy, nothing got better. I was not playing shows. I was doing 7 days of no talking at all. Nothing got better.
I can't go 7 minutes.
Yeah, that was a tough one because the first time I had to do that was Thanksgiving week while I was in college, came back home. My family does Thanksgiving at my parents' house. The whole family, both sides. I couldn't talk to anybody there.
So tell me this. Let's go. You went into it a little bit on the show. Like in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Explain what happened medically.
Yeah, so we'll skip forward a few years, 5 or 6 years into the future from that.
Going in and out of vocal therapy, all that.
Yep. The last time I got a camera put down my throat before my surgery, the cyst actually wasn't showing up, which was like honestly miraculous. For the first time since 2017 until 2023, there was nothing there. But because of the cyst, it had left scar tissue on both my right and my left vocal cord. So for anyone that doesn't know, your vocal cords come together very nice and fluid like this.
And they kind of vibrate and all that.
Yeah, but put a lump on one of them, and it's pretty much just slamming the other side. So I had a bunch of scar tissue. The goal was we would go in, I'd get put to sleep, and they were going to give me Kenalog injections into the scar tissue, which is just a very potent steroid that hangs around for a long time and really sits there. It helps break up scar tissue. I was going to do that. I was going to wake up. I was going to go on 7 days of vocal rest, go right back into therapy. And by the time this was all going to be said and done, within a month, I was supposed to be like 60 to 70% better than I was pre-surgery. So I wasn't going to be 100% better, but 60 to 70% better.
Big improvement.
Than pre-surgery. So we go, I get put to sleep, wake up. It's like, cool, 7 days, no talking. Well, okay, day 8 rolls around, and I'm like, today's the day I get to like try to talk. And I try to talk, and nothing comes out.
As in like literally no sound?
Literally, I could not get a out of my mouth.
Really?
On day 8, it was like, all right, this is not all ready to go in his plan. I can't say anything.
Oh my gosh.
My mom's calling the nurse at the hospital because I can't talk to him. And she's in Alabama trying to talk to them on the phone. Hey, whatever. Well, the first thing we were told was, it sounds like they had to do a lot more work and put a lot more Kenalog in there than we planned on. It might actually be 14 days before his voice starts coming back. So I'm like, I have a full-time job
Yeah, I've got
in corporate America at this point.
Yeah, I got to talk to somebody.
And I'm managing 17 people under me. I'm like, I took off for 7 days. I can't take off for another 7, but thankfully they let me do that. Okay, move forward now. Day 21 rolls around and I'm starting to get sounds out, but they're like, just being completely honest, I sounded like I was handicapped a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
You couldn't understand a word that I was saying.
Or like you've been to the dentist.
Yeah. I would have had to been right next to you for you to hear me. We go to get the checkup with the therapist. The therapist starts talking to us. Oh, yeah, well, when the doctor was in there, he did have to do a little bit more removal than we thought. My mom's sitting there like, removal of what?
Yeah, like, wait, what? This was supposed to be an injection.
Yeah.
In case anybody missed it, this was supposed to be a shot.
When I went and got laid on that bed, the anesthesia, I had 3 different doctors ask me before I went down, do you know what your procedure is for today? Yes, I'm getting Kenalog injections into my vocal cords to break up scar tissue.
I'm getting
3 times
shot.
in a row.
Yeah.
While I was out, I guess the scar tissue on my right vocal cord ran so deep, the doctor thought I'll just try to remove some of that.
So now it moves from injection to literally vocal surgery.
Now we're having a knife in my throat.
Yeah, without your consent.
Yeah, I'm out.
Yeah.
Wow. And so that was not what I signed up for at all. And I'm like, just perplexed at this point, honestly. And my mom's furious, way more mad than I've ever been the whole entire time. I mean, she was ready to, find the surgeon's house where he lived and all the 9 yards. So I go to get another doctor's opinion in Nashville, one that I'd been going throughout this whole process. They stick the camera down my throat. And I don't know if you've ever been to the doctor and had a little scare. I've never had one for myself. The first doctor comes in, they put the camera down my throat. They don't say nothing to me. The second one comes in, camera down my throat, asks me to tell my whole story. So what I gave y'all in 5 minutes, I'm doing with him for 30. He says, okay, we'll be right back. A third doctor comes in and I'm like, dude, here's another doctor. I'm like a test lab rat right now, Fourth doctor. I'm like, when the fourth doctor came in, I said, I already know from how many doctors walked in the room, whatever y'all are going to tell me can't be good. And he's like, it's not. And I have the audio recording on my phone of everything.
Yeah, what's fascinating to me is when we filmed the episode and I was putting it together, I thought, knowing the Italian over here, I'm betting you he's got footage of that. And dang, if he didn't, it's if you can go to YouTube and you can see them do the scope. He had the footage.
I had the footage. I have the audio. Everything they told me. I got the audio where they tell me this next part, which was, to make a long story short, they were like, essentially your right vocal cord now has a divot in it.
So if you're a golfer, there's a divot in the fairway.
Yeah, I'm missing a part.
Yeah,
and what it was doing was letting all the air out. Like when you sing or even talk, your vocal cords they're coming all the way together. If you're holding a note, they're there. You're controlling the amount of air coming out. I had zero control of the amount of air that was coming out of my mouth. So everything that I was saying was super airy. There was no power behind it. It was like a piece of paper. And I said, and I listened to the audio the other night from my recording, and I said, is it even worth me asking the question when I'm going to sing again? And he said, you might not ever sing again, and if you do, we definitely couldn't tell you when that would be. And that's how the whole thing ended there. And I got in the car and called my parents, pulling out of Vanderbilt, just bawling my eyes out.
Yeah.
Not even about what happened. More so it was just, I remember telling them, like, I feel like everything that I've worked towards since I was 13 years old is gone.
Here I'm a grown man. I'm finally getting some traction in the music world, playing shows.
Yeah.
And in the matter of a day, it took
That's a
away.
good part too, because right before the surgery, everything that I could have ever wanted to happen in my music career was happening. All of my songs were they were going nuts. Everything I posted on the internet, popping off, millions of views. Songs were streaming like crazy. Every song I put out was charting in the top 100, top 50, top 30 on the iTunes charts. I just knew in my head, that pub deal's about to happen.
It's only a matter of time.
The record deal's coming. It's all going to happen. So my thought with the surgery was like, I'm about to do the surgery.
You know what? I bet it's no different. I think when you've seen this happen. How many times you've seen it? So many times. It's especially during football season.
Yep.
A guy goes down, and you see him weeping and beating the ground. It's not because he's hurting.
Yep.
His knee is hurting.
It's because it's over.
He knows in that moment that may have been my last snap.
Yeah, that's how I felt. And what's crazy too.
I mean, he's hurting, yes, but that's not why he's crying.
Yeah.
The thing that I told my parents when I was driving home crying to them, it wasn't just oh, my dreams are never going to come true. I was like, man, all the things that I've gone through being here with, missing this, missing that, sacrificing being close to y'all, missing the wedding, missing the birthday, not being involved with whatever. All of that to me now is like, I wasted it. All those things I thought I sacrificed mean nothing now. That's what I thought. And then we can move forward a little bit into the picture. We'll hit the song part. I went home from that Vanderbilt meeting, and I was like, I just can't let this be the end of this. I just can't accept the idea that I moved up here to do this.
What a day.
And let it be over. So I was like, I'm just going to write a song about it. I hadn't written a song since the surgery. If you can imagine, not being able to talk means you can't sing. So I wrote this song called Trust You Anyways. And the whole first verse.
And that's on your Spotify now. Trust You Anyways.
Out everywhere. And the whole first verse is about Job. And it's pretty much saying like, man, like if Job went through all the things he went through, got to the end of it and still looked up and said, I'm angry at you, but I still trust you and I have faith in you, then like surely I can go through this and still trust you. Mm-hmm. So I wrote it. Musically, it's country. Lyrically, it's Christian. But I was like, nobody owns me. I don't have a deal. I'm going to put it on the Christian charts. Everything else I've been doing is country, but no one can tell me I can't. So I went to the studio, recorded it. Now that was a couple months after that I started getting some of my voice back, but still completely different than the voice that I had. I was like, I don't care what my voice sounds like. I'm going to go to the studio. I'm going to record the song and put it out. So I did, and I put it out on the Christian charts, and it charted on the top 100 of the Christian charts on iTunes in that voice. So then I was like, you know what?
Man, that's where the word smoke.
That's where smoke.
Sometimes you hear us refer to him as smoke. It's because one time we were duck hunting, and I was like,
and dude, that was
calling you're my boy Blue. I'm going to call you Smoke because you got that smoky.
What's crazy is I don't even sound like that anymore.
It's funny. In the last year, I can hear a difference. Like you're not near as smoky as you used to be.
Yeah. So even though the song came out and did all that, it still changed everything because I couldn't sing the songs that worked. Nothing that I'd ever put out, I couldn't sing it anymore. It was making me it was forcing me to learn how to write songs differently for the voice that I had been given, genre and all. But in the midst of all that, like I said, other people were angry for me. I was never angry. For the first 8 months, I was nothing but I had peace. I just knew that I was going to be okay. But on month 9, when I kind of came to grips with like, my voice might actually never come back and I might actually never fully heal from this, I started getting pretty beat up because I was watching all of my numbers go like this.
It go down.
And I had people tell me, oh, it's just numbers. My parents, for one, don't let that.
Numbers.
And my streams were going down. My followers were going down, which meant the money I was making from music was going down too. Everything that would have told you you're successful, I was losing all of it.
And you're watching it in real time.
I'm watching it in real time going, I can't do anything about this.
Yeah. So
which started the identity crisis.
Yeah, that brings up, we're going to talk today about, I think, when we started Wild in Kingdom, our whole motive behind that was to speak truth into places that men don't always really want to go, and especially, and we're doing that, piece by piece, but a lot of men don't, I'm going to back up and say it this way. I think all of us as men have trouble admitting that, like it or not, there is some level, and I know it's different for every man, but there is some level, there's some barometer in our souls that is attached to what we do, as evidenced by, let two women, just listen the next time two women meet each other. They'll ask about kids. They'll ask about what schools they go to. They'll ask about I love your purse. Or they'll ask about all kinds of things. Let two men meet, and within 30 seconds. So
what do you do?
What do you do?
Yeah.
That's all you do. And it's not what do you do compared to me?
Yeah.
It is what do you do in this world so I can try and identify if I know what you do, who you are. If you tell me you're a fireman, there's things, okay, I get it. I need to know your place on the roster.
Sure.
Women don't think like that. They just don't. Men do.
Yeah.
And it's not good or bad. It just is.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you first, you went into this whole issue of the identity crisis.
Mm-hmm.
Who am I? Why am I here? What are you doing to me, God? And why is this happening? You would not be human if you weren't, right? Jesus did the same thing in the garden, if you think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like, hey, I know this is the prophecy.
But
I think it was, I don't know, you guys may think different. To me, the garden, and I want to be clear, this is Jason speaking. This isn't Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John. But it's almost in the garden like Jesus was like, hey, are we really sure? Like, is there, because if you're asking the question, is there another way? It presupposes, I'd like to know if there's another way.
I think the thing for that shows me is like the conundrum of the idea that God is fully man and fully God, or Jesus was fully man and fully God.
Yeah.
John still had a human tendency.
John the Baptist asked that. John the Baptist knows exactly who Jesus is. And he says to them, hey, I'm tied up over here in jail. Can y'all go ask him is he really the one? If anybody should know, it should be John.
Yeah.
You would think.
Yeah, I mean, you're speaking to the humanity of Jesus.
Yeah, right.
And
you cut him, he bleeds.
An interesting.
It's a paradox, honestly.
Interesting how God designed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To relate to us
Yes.
with fully man and fully God. And
I heard Charles Stanley say this one time back in the days when we had cassette tapes. If y'all don't know who Charles Stanley is, you can Google it. But it's kind of even hard to even think that. But there's a lot of people that don't anymore. Yeah. He's a former prophet, so to speak. And but I heard him one time say something I thought was pretty interesting. He said, if the cross was transactional, meaning, a lot of evangelicals put all this emphasis on the cross. Listen, the cross is obviously the cross, man. It is the shed blood, but there's an open grave. Without that open grave, it's just another murder.
Sure.
But he did say, he said, if Jesus had just come down to die on a cross, come out of a grave, and make it transactional, he could have done that in literally the matter of 72 hours.
Yep.
Yeah.
But he walked for 33 years, and he said, I wonder, Charles Stanley said, I wonder if it's because you can never look at Jesus and say, you don't know what it's like to be lied to.
Yeah.
You don't know what it's like to have a friend turn his back on you. You don't know what it's like to have a fever. You don't know what it's like to be sick. He experienced all of it.
Yeah, it is.
So when it says in Hebrews, we do not have a high priest that cannot sympathize with us, it's because he actually walked the dirt.
Right. Like that, to the humanity point, it's like Jesus wept when his friend died.
Yeah. So my first question to you is, looking back on all that, we obviously know it shook everything you knew to be true about yourself. How did you climb the mountain of going, well, I can't place my faith in not just being an artist, anything.
Anything, yeah.
That defines my worth. Because if you don't know how to define your worth, the world will define it for you.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it wasn't easy. And it wasn't fast.
And it wasn't an algorithm.
And I'm still doing it. I'm still having to walk through it every day. But I mean, it took a lot of prayer, but I think it took God opening my eyes to exactly what you just said. I mean, and I've said this to other people, like my self-worth was tied up in my success. What other people think about me. My definition of being loved was I needed to be attached to how good I did on something. I need to prove to you how good I am for you to love me. Right? I thought it was all about the metric. I deserve love because I'm good at this.
Yeah.
I feel worthy because the numbers tell me I'm good at this. I deserve to be on the team because I've proved that I deserve to be on the team. But I think like I didn't know that, right? It's not like you walk through that going throughout your day going, you don't think that way. You don't know that's what you're in until you're out of it. And you're looking back going, I genuinely thought that my identity was, I am a songwriter. I am an artist. I am a creative. Okay, I write songs. It's something I do. I sing songs as an artist. It's something I do. I am creative. It's a talent God gave me. But none of those things are the definition of who Jasper Pocopani is.
I heard Roy McIlroy say the same thing probably 3 or 4 years ago. He was in a press conference, a presser after a golf, and he had played really bad. Somebody was asking him some baited question. He said, I am not my score.
Yeah, it's that. Yeah. But I thought that it was until, God humbled me to the point where I realized none of that has to do with God loving me.
So let me ask you a different question. Are you about to say something?
Yeah. So you said God opened my eyes, and you said God humbled me. How did he humble you? And how did he open your eyes?
He took away the thing that I thought defined me with who I was.
So count it all joy, my brother, and when you experience various trials of many kind, let it do its work so that you become perfect and complete and lacking in nothing. And so the way that he got you to that place was through the trial and tribulation.
Sure. Yeah.
So the absence of trial and tribulation leaves us where?
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
Leaning on the world.
Yeah.
Not understanding. There's no greater example of what you experienced than that of the man who wrote "It Is Well With My Soul."
Oh my gosh.
Sure. Yeah. 100%.
Look up Google the history of that song.
Yes.
If you want to sit with tears running down your eyes, down your face, you read that story.
Google
it doesn't even
It Is
seem,
Well With My Soul.
It doesn't even seem real.
No.
Yeah. It's almost shocking.
Yeah. It doesn't even seem real. And
I heard Tidwell say one time when we were in our teenage years, he said, I don't know why I remember this, because you and I used to take notes like crazy. Remember how we used to take notes? He said, if life was all sunshine, we'd all be deserts.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's so good. To your point, if we go backwards into this conversation, what I said earlier, right before the surgery, what did I say? I was thinking, I'm about to get everything that I want.
I'm about to pop, as y'all say.
I'm about to pop off. If I would have gotten...
Sam Mackey says it popped off different.
Yeah, different.
It's different when Sam Mackey says it popped off.
If I would have gotten that the way that I thought it was going to go, dog, it wouldn't have been good.
Yeah.
Yep.
It would not have been good because it just wouldn't have.
Yeah.
I could go another 2 hours on this podcast and tell you every single reason why I wouldn't have, but I'm just telling you, it was a major course correction on purpose.
I want to ask you this, because for you, it's music, right? For me, it was probably a lot of things, the measurement of my worth in this world. Business for you, Apex Restoration DKI, I've gotten to watch that from a distance and up close. I got to watch it before it was even that. I got to watch you and going through all the changes in business. I can only imagine that you face some of the same things in your mind, even if it was early on until you're like trying to press through, trying to get over the mountain, trying to look into a banker when they say, well, you're no good at this. We're like, I know I'm good at it. Why won't you loan me the money? You know what I'm saying? There's all these things that the world will force metrics on you. That's the facts. So how in business, how have you overcome that? Or how have you pushed through it when you did hit those dark moments?
Well, I'm not going to sit here and say that my situation's worse than Jasper's situation or
there's no such thing.
Anybody's situation.
Everybody's
but what I will
theirs.
tell you is financial problems are unbelievably brutal. And if you get into business, most people get into it because they believe in a product or they're selling something or they producing something and people like it or whatever it is. And hey, I can turn this into a business. But there are other aspects of that business that you have to have down pat. And So I was really good at, what we did in business, but not good at the other aspects. And
like good at sales.
good at sales.
Good at
or
generating
I was
money.
visionary. I could see things and make them work.
You've always been very good at making things happen.
Yeah, and being able to see a weakness in something and then exploit that weakness in business, whatever it may be. But failure over and over. Benjamin Franklin, it was either Thomas Jefferson or Benjamin Franklin, said pain instructs.
Mm-hmm.
And I added to it.
Like only Greg Driver could add to old Benjamin.
Yeah. And that was if you let it.
Okay.
It only instructs if you let it.
I've got a song called
Most
If You Let
people,
It.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, it's not out.
most people don't let it.
Pain instructs if you let it.
In other words, going back to James and, let it do its work so you're perfect, complete, lacking in nothing. So for a long time, I didn't let it. I just kept kicking against the goad, so to speak, and doing the same thing over and over. But when you're laying there and just like his identity was tied up in, in the music industry, mine was tied up in the business world. And that's what God was trying to get out of me.
Like trying to pull out of you, right? He was
Trying to
extract.
trying to say, hey, look up here.
Yeah.
You're looking inside of yourself
Yep.
for resolution.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of people who accomplish that within themselves. Those are the people that a lot of times, not always paint with a broad stroke, but those are people a lot of times that very arrogant, very prideful, very narcissistic, very because they're, look at what I've done. Look at this, look at that. God's children can't be that way. And God's not going to allow us to be that way. So he's going to mold us, shape us. He's the potter and we're the clay.
And at times, I don't care what anybody says. He allowed it, but he didn't do it. No, sometimes he does it.
Yeah, I mean,
He
God
will put
he
you-
either does it or allows it.
Yeah,
One of
It
the
doesn't
two.
matter.
But,
He had the lever to pull and he didn't pull it.
yeah,
Or what does a good father does? What does Hebrews even? Go back to Hebrews.
yeah,
Our fathers disciplined
discipline,
us, and we are better for
Yeah,
it.
it's not like it's just some act of evil that happened to me.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the first time I went to MRM, when Music Grove Ministries in Nashville, at that point when I could barely talk then when I first went there. And I was telling Jordan Rowe my whole situation. I don't know what I was expecting to hear back. I think I was just wanting someone to tell me like anything positive. Yeah. And he was just like, you think God didn't see this coming for you? Think this just happened and like your whole dream just got let go, that you thought God put this dream on your heart and then this happened and it just wrecked God's dream for you? Mm-hmm. Like he didn't know this was
He's up in heaven going, oh
man,
crud,
Jasper was
what
going
do
to
I do
make
now?
it, but he walked into the doctor's office, But I mean, the moral of my whole story, it is that it's like, I was looking internally at everything and asking myself all the questions, what can I do to make it? It's not like my vehicle might have been, music is the title, yours might have been business the title. At the end of the day, it's all the same thing. It's success. It's accomplishment. It's self-worth. It's did I quote unquote make it, which is the dumbest thing in the world, by the way. Made it has no metric.
Okay, let's stop. I want to talk about that because I think this is a huge issue. That needs to be a T-shirt. Made it has no metric because that's an infinite mindset. Simon Sinek would give you a big hug right now.
Well, I mean, you're part of the reason that I think that way from all the things you've told us at Sony.
Oh,
but it's the truth.
Yeah. So one of the biggest evolutions in my thinking was we are so outcome driven, right? You and I have in some ways had conversations about this. In business, everybody looks at revenue. Well, I heard one of the best business people I've ever met in my life say something one time that really made me stop. And I offline, I said, I don't know what you meant when you said that, but obviously you're right because the whole room understood and were shaking their head that were businessmen. You said you can be profitable and it has no indicator of your ability to avoid bankruptcy. And I was like, how can that be? He said, I'm not quoting that exactly right, but he said something, profitability is not, I think he said, profitability is not a measurement of the health of your business. Yeah. Profitability is a result of other things. Mm-hmm. I'm like, wow, that's a philosophical answer. What do you mean? Because the whole idea of having a business is pay the shareholders, according to, Jack Welch, Sure. But one of the things, the infinite mind, you can't win. It's like church. You don't win at church. You don't win at the kingdom. You just keep moving it, right? Yeah. And so I give you an example of how this played out recently for me, because I was very results oriented. Growing up in the game of golf, I cannot tell you the absolute planetary Mars versus Venus difference between shooting 79 and shooting 80. 79, I could, tough day. 80, might jump off a cliff. The psychological difference between that one stroke is, I don't have time to describe it.
Well, it's the same thing for me when I shoot 69 versus 70 on 9 holes.
Yeah. First 4.
I mean, it's like, it's monumental.
Yeah. It's monumental.
Y'all don't even want to see me touch a golf club.
But so Tucker Cruz, my youngest son, a couple years ago, he's a good lefty pitcher. He was really stressed out about this baseball tryout coming up for middle school. And I could see it. And I knew he was going to sabotage himself. And so we had a long talk. I said, Tuck, let me ask you something. Are you good enough to be on that team? He's like, yeah, I know that I am, Dad. I mean, as far as, do I throw the baseball well enough? Yes, I do. I said, okay. Do you have any control over whether or not the coach, who I loved his coach, but he's got 60 boys trying out, 60 for one middle school. Do you have any control over whether or not he picks you? He said, well, what do you mean? I said, are you able to force Coach Burgess to put you on that roster? No, sir. I said, that's right. What if he's already got 6 lefty pitchers, and what he needs, he's down 3 catchers or 4 left fielders? It's a math game. Mm-hmm. And I said, all you can do is control yourself. All you can measure is, did I prepare? Peyton Manning said one time, I knew I never was the best quarterback in the league, but I could control whether or not I was prepared for the game, and I knew you were never going to be more prepared than I was.
Yeah. Who was that?
Peyton Manning.
Never heard of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, so I'm searching my Rolodex here.
Yeah. What do you do? So my point is, it was interesting with Tuck to help him see. Nick Saban has a phrase that people hear all the time: the process, the process, the process. What is Nick Saban saying? Stop measuring wins. I was thinking about this morning. Start doing the things that build champions. Champions will win. That's a process.
Yeah. That's
an algorithm. So an algorithm is by definition a process. That's all it is. And so my thing with you is, I think it sounds like to me what that whole thing did for you was it made you said made it does not have a metric. I love that line. I'm going to use that. The point being that if let's take songwriters. If made it means I've got to be the next Garth Brooks or the next George Strait, well, I only know one of those.
Yes. Right. I mean, it's like you've said a million times, like you need to define what success is to you.
Yeah. Your own scorecard.
But understand, like and we should just say this. It ain't like all 3 of us in here don't like getting paid.
Right.
It's a good thing to work hard and make money.
It's not like we don't have achievements.
The other side of that is not making that thing that pays you your identity. Yeah. Because your identity is born again, saved, redeemed, forgiven, adopted child of Christ. Like that's the identity.
You're not saying, hey, I'm not saying that money doesn't matter. In the world of the restoration world, if this is your first time listening to the podcast, Greg owns a company that, whether it's your church or your business or whether it's your home, if you have mold or water damage or fire damage or smoke damage, Apex comes in and they mitigate all of that for you and make it better. Well, and restore things back. Okay, you have to have profit or you don't have a business. It's not that profit doesn't matter, but I think what Simon Sinek has always been saying, I heard Simon Sinek say it this way: people don't care what you do. They want to know why you do it.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at now. My why has drastically changed. It's drastically changed for the better.
Now, the bigger issue too, though, we got to think about and talk about this is the scorecard. You brought it up. Yeah. I am constantly thinking about my own personal scorecard because I've learned something. It's just like time. You know, you've heard this said a million times. If you don't control your calendar, other people will control it for you, meaning they'll just interrupt your life all the time. Well, the same is true for your scorecard. If you do not define what success looks like to you, then all you're left with is the world providing you a definition and filling in that blank. And I can promise you, the one that owns that world, according to the scriptures, is the devil.
Yeah, well, you'll chase it, and it's going to be fleeting, like Solomon said.
Yeah.
Like, all I wanted to do was get 1 million streams, and I got it. And guess what happened as soon as I got it? I was like, well, it'd be nice to have 2.
Yeah.
Then I got 2 million. Well, it'd be nice to have 5. Now I have 6. What do you think I thought when I saw 6? I wonder what 10 millions. If I get a number 1, I'm going to be like, man, it'd be sick to have 2 number 1s.
Every number 1 songwriter I've ever met, and I've got several that are friends, are like, bro, I promise you it does not do for you what you think it's going to do.
No.
Yeah.
Yep. So I think in the world of business, how have you come to? Very few people can identify with being a songwriter. Most every man can identify with either owning a business or working in a business, and obviously in being in business. How have you defined that scorecard? How have you gone about that?
My business is just a conduit to do work of ministry. Paul had a job. Yeah. Jesus had a job. Stephen had a job. Peter had a job. But their jobs weren't, like, we don't have a whole chapter of Paul talking about how innovative his tent making was, and how he come up with some new dove cuts on his wood, and how, you know, he really
the grommet that you really want.
Yeah, you know, how he wanted to produce at least 100 new tents every month for the next. The work we do as believers is what sustains us. It gives us sustenance. When I get up every morning, I say, God, put me in the game. Make me cognitive of my surroundings and aware, because the reason I say that is because we get so busy and tied up in the world, and somebody walks in who needs ministering to, and then we're like, you know, I'll talk to you later. And then later on we go, you know, Lord, sometimes I'd like for you to use me. Well, I did use you.
It's so fascinating. They were standing in front of you.
You were standing right in front of you.
You're not present.
So the thing that had to flip in my mind was, why am I doing this? And what I can tell you is, I've been broke, beyond broke, and I would think, by all accounts, I have been wealthy from a world standard. And all it did was, you know, I've got this many locations, just like he was saying. Now, can I get another location and another location? It's just an empty black hole. So for me, all it is the business is a conduit to do the work of ministry. Before it wasn't. It was, once I accomplish this, then I'm going to do the work of ministry.
When I get there, I'll do it.
Yeah, and I'll tell you a quick story about us starting the church, our church, Faith Bible Fellowship. You know, my wife came to me, and one of the commercial buildings I owned had about 10,000 square foot on one end, and I said, I think we ought to put a kitchen and bath center in there so that customers can come and pick out cabinetry, and we sell cabinetry and all this stuff. And she said, I think you're supposed to put a church there. And I go, well, okay, we're not, for me, I said, I don't feel like I've come far enough financially to be a pastor. I felt, basically I didn't want to be another guy who there's another preacher who's late on his bills or doesn't pay his bills or, in my mind, my reputation wasn't good enough. And so I said, Lord, my wife and I actually got in an argument. And I said, I'm not doing it until our situation gets better. At which point she said, well, isn't that opposite of what you've been teaching us for however long, that we don't get cleaned up and come to Jesus? We come to Jesus and we get cleaned up. And I, of course, said, don't, be using
Shut
my
up,
words
woman.
back against me.
You're not even supposed to talk according to 1 Corinthians, so I don't even need you right
can't
now.
be talking to me. And so I got in a vehicle and I was driving down the road and I was just sitting here saying, Lord, I want to do this, but, if you'd clean up my reputation, and I'm telling you, I felt it as strong as I've ever felt any conviction where God said, I don't need your reputation to build a church. I need your obedience. And you didn't ever have a good enough reputation, and you ain't never going to have a good enough reputation.
By the way, that whole line about filthy rags.
Yeah, yeah. And I turned around, I went back, and I told my wife, I said, okay, we'll do it. And I felt like Jonah going into Nineveh when God did the old chicken wing where he ran his arm up behind his back and said, you going to Nineveh? No, I'm not. Yeah, you going.
Yeah, watch.
And
like fish?
Yeah. Yeah. How about fish and
You like
chips?
bile?
Yeah.
How you like bile?
Yeah. And he relents, but he still wasn't happy about it.
My funny thing about Jonah is when he comes, can you imagine when he comes up out of that freaking water?
Yeah, seaweed
and
on
he's
his
got
head.
seaweed on his head, and he sees the first Ninevite, and he goes, hey, repent, you freaking moron.
Yeah.
And then he walks on, and the guy goes, oh, I want Jesus in my life, right? And I'm doing it in my own mind. And he goes, I knew those. Great. Yeah, you know what? 400 of them came to Jesus.
Yeah.
Why am I here?
Yeah.
He's mad.
Yeah, he's upset.
He hates them. He hates them. But if you got to know why he hated them, which is a whole different podcast, but it's really interesting. Like he hated them.
He had good reason to hate them.
He had good reason to hate them. It'd be like Auburn fans all of a sudden embracing people like y'all.
Yeah, I know. And then becoming like winners and everything.
Become winners,
like,
all of a sudden wearing rings.
weird.
Like, where jewelry? Boy, jewelry's glittery.
Yeah.
I kind of like it.
Having trophies and all that stuff.
More big stadiums. Who wants that?
But anyways, we I told my wife, this is a true story. I guess it probably lines up with the bouncing the tithe check. I said, okay, I'll do it, but I'm not putting a sign on the building. And she's like,
why the sign?
I didn't want anybody to know it.
Oh, really?
I did not want anybody to know it.
No kidding.
Oh, absolutely.
I'll do it, but I'm not putting a marquee.
And I'm like, and she's like, okay. And then, she told people and I'm like, ain't nobody going to show up. And then everybody shows up. And then I'm like, okay, but, and the same thing happened when God sent somebody who was, did all the video and the recordings and all that kind of stuff. And he said, hey, he came to hear me teach scripture, and then he said, hey, man, we ought to record that and put it online. And I told him, no, we're not.
Yeah.
I said, well, I'm not doing that. And he goes, why? I said, I'm not doing that. And he said, I said, I said, hey, here's the thing. I'm not good enough to be on the internet. And he goes, have you ever been on the internet?
That's a great.
And what's so funny is I'm not sure this guy was even a believer, to be honest with you. And
that's so funny.
But
have you seen what's on the internet?
Have you ever been on the internet? He asked me that literally, and I was like, well, yeah, I've been on the internet. And then he goes, well, you must not have been on it much because, and then he says something. He says, I thought you said God's word, like you believe it changes people, that it what'd you say? I said that it saves people, matures people, sanctifies. And he goes, well, then if one person heard it, wouldn't it be worth it? And I'm like,
yeah, Ninevite.
And I didn't agree to
Ninevite.
it. I didn't agree to it.
Yeah.
The next week I come in, he's got cameras set up, lights set up.
He just did it.
He got soundboard. He's got everything set
man.
up. And I was like, my blood pressure went through the roof.
Is that Angry Greg?
Yeah, it was irritated.
Irritated Greg.
I
IG?
was irritated. Yeah.
That's IG.
And then of course, you know, I remember I don't know where he put it on YouTube or something, and I had 9 likes.
Yeah.
And I told my daughter, I said, I think I'm an internet sensation.
Yeah.
And
that was just your mama, and
it was probably my mom.
Might have been you watching it back 9 times,
Right.
watching
I
the
didn't
game
even
tape.
watch it. I couldn't stand to watch it.
Oh, dude.
I was like, I'm not.
My
he sent
mom,
it to me,
my
and
mom
he's
still
like,
has my first sermon on cassette.
That's awesome.
I cannot.
We should bring that into Wild and Kingdom.
Yeah.
I cannot listen to it.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So God is, He's creating. I mean, like in that scenario, had it been left up to me, we wouldn't be 12 years later, our church and what all we've done. And so it's interesting how, did I have a free will? I did. If that free will had been left up to me to do what I wanted to do, so then God intervenes and says, let me help you out a little bit because I know you're struggling.
Course correction.
And puts it back on track. And then we see from the financials, with the hindsight of 2020, I go back and I created a graph where we were financially, and then the day we started that church and what began to happen. And you see this hockey stick turn where this thing just I didn't even know it was happening. But by being obedient, even though I didn't want to be obedient, let's be clear. I'm not sitting here telling you like I had this wonderful heart and, I was
been praying about this for years.
Oh, no. I was polar opposite of that. But God doesn't need that, just like he didn't need it with Jonah.
He just needs
He didn't need Jonah's heart to be in it, which takes you back to
He needed Jonah.
praying for someone that you don't really want to pray for.
Yeah. Well, I just don't. I was thinking about that the other day, like praying. I was literally praying, and somebody that come up in my, you know how you know when you're still mad at somebody. It's when their name comes across your heart and your attitude changes.
Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't pray about that, and I started praying about, why'd you tell us to? I don't want to. I mean this 100%. I was like, I don't want to pray for that person. I don't want to pray for them. I mean, I'll forgive them, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, I will. I'll forgive them. I think I have. I mean, you just know that God's looking at you going,
yeah.
Can we be honest for a minute? So let's take this. Let's take this to a different place real quick, and then we got to close it out.
Yep.
So we've talked about identity. Everybody knows that you cannot attach your identity. Every man knows in his mind, it is dangerous for me to turn my identity into something that I base that's performance driven, because there's always going to be somebody smarter than me or better than me or richer than me or can sing better. There's always a better. There's just always a better. So we know we can't. We shouldn't. We also know that we've talked about you have to change your scorecard. What I've learned is that most men don't take the actual time. I actually have taken the time to go, I'm going to measure some things, but what I measure is my scorecard. It's not yours. Mm-hmm. And that's how I know if I'm winning, because the story that you tell yourself is your story. And so what I've had to learn is I've had to create. So I would encourage anybody listening to this, just start with, I'm going to change my scorecard and how I'm going to I'm going to measure myself, but I'm going to let the Lord's word, I'm going to get God's word and God's kingdom. I'm going to start there. Start with a kingdom definition of what success is. Here's a great point, and you somewhat touched on it a minute ago. I've always been fascinated that Joshua chapter 1, God tells him, hey, I'm going to be with you like I was with Moses. Now Joshua's got to go be a CEO, a president of a nation, a presidential pastor, literally a national shepherd. God doesn't go into any of that. He doesn't tell him how to be a war admiral or a general. He's got to kill all the Canaanites. He only says, this book of the law should not depart from your mouth. Do not disobey it. Obey it. Be strong, be courageous. Joshua chapter 1, verse 8 and 9. And then you'll be prosperous. And then it was a conditional promise. Mm-hmm. But it's based on, to your point, God did not need Joshua's talent. He wanted Joshua's heart. Yeah. God didn't need your voice. He's got millions of voices. He wanted you.
Yep, 100%.
He wanted you. But if we're going to measure something, then that's fine. But you are never, ever, I've learned this the hard way. You're never going to reach a godly outcome with a worldly metric.
Yeah.
You're not. So apply godly metrics to your life.
Right.
And that's where it changes. And I think that whether it's business or music or anything else in life, everybody struggles with it. At the end of the day, the processes that we pursue have to be what makes me the best version of myself for the sake of God's glory.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, for the sake of God's glory.
That's I could say nothing else right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if he gave you a voice, then you use that voice as unto the Lord.
Yeah.
And to bring glory to him. If he gave you the mind for mathematics and you're an engineer for him, if he gave you the academics to be a doctor for him, if it is mechanical, plumbing, electrical, whatever it may be.
Baseball player.
The problem is people struggle. They understand it, as you said.
In their head, yeah.
But how do you get the heart and the mind?
I think the way you get that, and we'll close it with this, I think the way you get it from your head to your heart. What is your heart? That's your soul. How do you practice a truth and put it into practice? I trust God with my money. Okay. Do you tithe? No. Well, you have a
There's your money on ungodly things.
There's a disconnect. You say you believe it, but you actually don't because your actions prove you don't.
Sure.
Okay. Well, the connection is I say I want my worth to be in Christ. Okay. I think a starting point is get a piece of paper, put your freaking phone down, leave it alone for a while, and go say, what is one rule of life biblically that I am going to follow? Okay. So you know what I did? This is what I did. I went to my funeral. About 8 or 9 years ago.
Was anybody there?
Yeah, it was cool.
All right.
It was awesome.
You sure?
I promise. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I was alive.
Because I'm pretty sure ain't nobody going to be at mine. So I just was curious.
So I went, in my mind, I went to my funeral. Nobody had ever told me to do this. I had never read a book on this. And I thought, what do I want my sons, if they're still alive, whoever's over me, what do I want them to say about me? And I came up with a few key principles. Funny, none of them had a trophy attached to it. No had a job title.
Yep.
None of it. So those sit on my office wall right now, and though that's my scorecard. That's actually my scorecard. And because at the end of the day, nobody's going to remember the things I did.
That's right. That's like
I would say go to your funeral. Go to your funeral.
No one's going to put the amount of streams that I got on my tombstone.
Yeah. You know what I love most about Jasper?
Oh, man, he had 10 million streams.
When I listened to 17 in a Chevy, I'm just going to tell you right now, that had 722,000 streams. That's what I remember about Jasper. No, they're not.
Yeah. I think that's crazy. I think that's actually what's close to that number right now.
Is it really? I
Something
made it
that.
up. Is it really?
That's so funny. It's pretty, yeah, somewhere around there.
So, hey, we're going to put Jasper Spotify on the notes. Listen, before you get out of here, I want to say this to you. We say this every time, but this may be your first time hearing our podcast. Watch the episode called Unexpected. But also, the greatest impact you can have sometimes is to literally text or email this episode to somebody that needs to hear it. Mm-hmm. That's what matters. And put your email in. Go to wildandkingdom.com, spell it all out, wildandkingdom.com, and put your email address on the homepage, because that's how we deliver these once a month. Jasper, thank you for telling your story. There's a lot more to tell, but we hit the important parts.
Yeah, well, I'm glad I got to do it, so I appreciate it.
Well, you're the silky smooth producer, so I'm surrounded by Alabama people. So it's time for me to get out of here.
I know.
Yeah.
Can't take too much of that winning.
We're out.